Welcome back to the Play Date with Freshly Picked. I am your host, Fifi, and I have my special guests with me today, Emily and Rylan Hosea. So let's get into it. Emily, could you share a little bit about your life? Like your marriage and your kids?
I will.
Maybe a little bit. Just a little bit.
I'm married to Fifi's cousin, if we haven't talked about that. I'm Rylan's cousin. Fifi is my husband. And we've been married for 5 years almost. Is it almost 5? Me and Ryan got married one day apart.
Yes, we did.
In COVID. And it was miserable and beautiful and wonderful. Changed all of our plans, but that's okay. It was great. And then after we got married, what was it, 4 months in for both of us, basically, we got pregnant. And now I have a daughter, a 4-year-old daughter, Raymana, and my son, Zion, and he's 2. And it's been chaos and great.
Chaos, and we love it.
Yes.
Okay, and Ryan.
I don't even have to share because we have the same life, actually.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Okay, married
for almost 5 years. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, both girls.
Wow.
What else do you want to ask?
Love it. And then just to recap, I'm married for almost 8 years. It'll be 8 years on Monday.
Oh my gosh.
And then I've got 5 kids, all of them younger than 6.
Incredible.
Insane.
Insanity.
But you know what was fun is Rylan told me, before I even was close with you, Fifi knows how to handle kids. She's just natural at it.
That's
this is
so
her thing.
nice.
No, for real, we were talking about that because I was like, I do not know. I can't even handle one. She just said that you were so good at just momming. That was what you were called to do, girl.
I do. And then other times just turn a blind eye when I get overwhelmed, please.
You have to.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Survive.
Actually, when I do get overwhelmed, Rylan's really good at she's like, okay, come over here. And she takes my kids and I'm like,
yes. That was me.
Massaging
But
my
you do
temples.
the same for me too. When I'm like, I'm gonna freaking beat you.
That's good.
She's just
I don't
kidding.
actually do that, guys.
Yeah.
We don't.
No.
We don't.
But when I think that, Fifi just knows I'm thinking that, and she'll take my kids. Yeah.
Yeah, I know
That's
she's
how everybody is, though.
yeah. What's that quote? Or it's that saying right now. It's one thing it is or whatever is it was never that deep. Something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's parenthood for you. That's motherhood for you.
Yes.
Love that.
Okay, so today's segment I'm so excited for because for one, we are married into the same family. So this is a little funny. It's going to be funny because there's stories here that we'll probably for sure relate to. But it's interracial families. And I think it's so fun because one of the things that's been playing on my mind a lot is because, of course, I'm married to a white ginger man. I've been thinking about interracial marriage and interracial families because, my kids are now both half of myself and half of my husband. And how do we navigate these different cultures and also this different environment? We all come from different backgrounds. I was saying to you guys in the car, and I actually think it's funny. I will say it here. I was like, my husband is white, and you guys are white. But you guys are still not the same. It's true. It's true. And it's fine, you guys. We all come from different backgrounds. Everybody has just a different way of life that we've all navigated. And so helping our kids navigate both cultures, but also different backgrounds of what we grew up with, and helping them find identity and also still feel close to their roots. So that's something that's been really just on my mind all the time. And I feel it's partially because I live that every day, but so do you guys.
Yeah.
And so I am very excited for this one. So first question to kick us off is, how did your cultural backgrounds shape your early relationship? So this is with you and your spouse first.
That's a good question. I think me and Ray both knew that we wanted to marry Polynesians. I feel that was yeah, we're in. But
we were those girls.
I'm so sorry. But I just kind of always like felt like I knew, I was going to be married into a different culture, a different ethnicity, whatever. Like that's something that I always wanted. I'm attracted to them, whatever. So I always had that like in the back of my mind. And regardless, like in marriage, you're bringing two different worlds, regardless. Even if I married a white guy, like different parenting styles, how they were raised, where they were raised, like that all brings the uniqueness to our marriage. But then adding like a different like culture and like perspective, it was like literally a different perspective on life is how it's looked for me. Like that was a little bit hard at the beginning because I was like, wait a minute, we do things way differently. Like the way that you think things are like cool, not cool with me, or like the opposite. Like, what are you doing? Also, we were supposed to be there an hour ago. Like, what are you doing?
That is the thing. Time.
The time.
In the Polynesian cultures is like not a thing.
It's like, that is real. The
Is
poly
that-
time.
Let's see. Let's insert
It's getting better.
any
though.
other ethnicity too. I'd probably say it's the same except for white people, maybe.
Really? We're just like,
Yeah, because I've seen memes. I've seen I've seen like a white person who marries like a Latino or
Yeah,
Latina and like they're all
we're
like
just chilling.
every single ethnicity I see, they're like, wait, why are we all the same? And then the white people
Maybe
are
just because
like,
you guys are more chill.
Yeah.
Like
We're
white
just too
people
uptight.
we just want to be there on time and the party ends when it says it's gonna end. And you guys are like, let's just go. We're
Actually,
just here with the
yeah.
flow.
no, seriously.
Yeah.
Now on my side, which is funny, was because like my cultural background, I would say like, I feel bad because like, I know that you guys probably feel the same way, but I'm like, to my husband, I'm like, I bring the culture. What do you bring?
Truly.
like, no offense, okay? Like, he's an American, okay?
He's not
Okay,
American.
we're just gonna take that off the board, okay?
Yes.
He has no connection to like his Danish side or his
No.
German side.
No.
And so like our cultures that we're bringing together, his is solely based on his environment he comes from. And so
Yeah.
I'm respectful of that and his family traditions and all of those things. And so like I would probably say our cultural relationship, it's so funny. I would say I still learn things about their stuff all the time. Like and they're so dumb, to be honest. You guys probably are feeling the same way. You're like, oh, what's that?
Yeah.
But like Jake's dad's like, oh, I'm like beating like a dead horse. And I was like, what does that even mean?
Yep.
I'm like, what does that even
The
mean?
white dad saying.
No, I'm 1,000%. I'm like, what? I was like, we don't beat a dead horse. We eat the horse. Okay, I'm so
And it's
sorry.
actually good. Not gonna lie.
It's good.
I've been there, done that, tried it, love it.
You guys, like they bring sayings and I bring different like food to the
Yes.
table.
It's true. It's true because in the car, maybe I shouldn't say this. I don't know. Cancel me. It's fine. In the car, I was like, dude, what even is white culture?
What is my culture? No, I really.
What is my culture?
So how are we going to bring our culture to this?
Yes, because I feel like my family has traditions.
Yes.
That's it. We just have,
Yes.
but like other people that I meet that are white like me, they don't have the same traditions as me.
Yeah.
So I feel like I was actually really thinking about that. Like, what is my culture? I'm like, I think I have more traditions. Like, this is just a funny random story, but when I first started talking to Malu and I got pregnant a month after we were married and we were thinking of a name, what we wanted to name our daughter. He's like, well, like, who do you have in your family tree? I'm like, bro, I've never even looked at my family tree. Like, I don't even know how to freaking work.
How do you even look at
Like,
Yeah,
we
like,
don't know our ancestors.
I don't even have a login. And so he was like, what? My seventh cousin or whatever's named so-and-so. And I'm like, how the heck do you know that? Like, what the heck? I just know my dad is from Scotland. Gosh, I don't actually
Maybe
know.
not.
I could have just made that up. But I thought that was so cool because I was like, wait, I want to look at my family tree and know like who my great aunts are that I still can't remember their names right now. But I'm like, that's so awesome. Like, and I just love that about like it's like your guys' culture. Like, you guys are so close with cousins and everyone. And I didn't really have that. I think I don't know if it's a culture thing. I should just say my family. My family personally has let like drama and things get in the way of family relationships. And there's people in our family that like we don't talk to anymore because of something that was done years ago. And I like don't see that with you guys. And maybe that's just a your guys' family thing too. Or I don't know if it is a culture thing. But I'm like, I love that everyone is still friends despite what happened 7 years ago. Like, that was crazy, and you guys are still loving each other. And my family doesn't talk because of something probably not that deep. Yeah.
It was never that deep.
Yeah. It wasn't that deep, guys.
No, I mean, you've come to me a lot because, like, I
Yeah.
would say, like, my family also just, we're different. Like, every family is different, even within my own culture. And so, like, I always preface, I'm like, culturally on brand, but my family, this is like how we grew up. And like, because things are still different. And I think that's super important. But like, as far as like, like bringing in both cultural and our environments we grew up, like I said, I feel like I wasn't at the start very respectful of like paying homage to Jake's side things because I'm like, I didn't find it important. And I was like, camping. Like, but that's his thing, like he grew up with it. And I'm like, okay. Like, this is part of his cultural background. Like he
like
does
identity. and
like
how
it's
we
his
grew up.
identity. Yes. It brought him to be who he is. And so like I want my kids to also feel the same about both of us. And so like I don't know, I think that was one of the things that really shaped our relationship was that I wanted our kids to be proud of where they come from on both sides. Cuz like it's so different and you guys it's so fun cuz we all have similar experiences.
Yeah.
Jake's like my kids call his side, they're like, "Oh, our white cousins."
Yeah.
And
That's
then like
hilarious.
our side, they're like, "Oh, our brown cousins."
Mhm.
And so like they are aware of the cultural differences on each side. But like I think that's like super important to Jake, which makes it super important to me is that I want them to love both sides equally and also like love where like the differences because their brown cousins versus their white cousins are extremely different. We literally don't do the same things and what they see on one side is not the same on the other, but I'd like don't ever want them to feel such a huge dichotomy between my family and Jake's.
Yeah.
And like the way that we're bringing them
Yeah.
up.
Well, and that made me think when you said, like, in the beginning, you didn't see his stuff as important. I can't remember if those are your exact words, but that was same with Malu too. And I think because in my family, sometimes there's not a point of doing what we do. But like for you guys and your family, or maybe it's family culture, whatever, but like you guys always have like a purpose of what you do and you guys like bring that purpose in, whether it's like the two ties of family, but sometimes my family just has dinner and like we go to dinner because that's just fun. And so I think that was hard for Malu in the beginning too, because it's like, wait, why is your family doing this? Especially if we had conflicting things. Like if he had a family reunion and my family had Sunday dinner, like in his eyes, family reunion trumped Sunday dinner. And in my eyes, I'm like, this is the one time we get together is on Sundays. And so I think that was hard in the beginning is because he didn't see the importance because there wasn't like a tie for us of like why we did it. We just do it because we do it. Whereas for you guys or for Malu, he was like, we do this because of X, Y, and Z. And this is how we were raised. And this is like why we do it. And I was like, oh, wow. But I also love that because then I wanted to start those types of things with my family. Like, guys, come on, let's share our feelings around the table together.
Yes. Infamous family meeting.
Yes.
Like...
Let's have family Zoom call, guys. Come on, monthly. What's everyone up to?
A very deep, pondering, like thought-provoking question everybody has to answer.
Yes.
That's so funny. No, I like what you're saying about like bringing both sides because I think that builds our kids' identity a lot. Is like in an interracial marriage and in with biracial children, it's just like it's not just like black or white, this and that. Like we have both sides that bring a lot to the table, and I think that's important to tell your kids, even if like sometimes there's times where like we both have biased opinions. My husband does as well. Like just what you were saying of like not really not respecting, but you know what I mean? Like yeah, we just have different things that we bring to the table.
Yeah, no, I for sure love that. I mean, and this goes for like all cultures because I feel like I said, like I have seen probably like in the day and age of social media that like there's a lot of different like ethnic backgrounds that are very closely relatable to like my own cultural background. And so like, and I see a lot of similarities. And, you know, whether you're like from, you know, I don't know, South America, or you're African or whatever, like Black culture, like there's a lot of similarities with ethnic backgrounds. And I
Mhm.
feel like interracial marriage, while create like and now biracial children is such a big thing now, but it's like, but it's always been around.
Yeah.
It's just more light is shine or shown on them
Mhm.
because social media
Yeah.
brings to light like a lot of these differences. So now one of the things I want to ask you guys, this is kind of funny because I get to hear it from my
From the in-laws.
I get to hear it on my end because like, and I'll share mine later. But it's this question is, were there any cultural misunderstandings or surprises in the beginning?
Of course there was. Yes.
Okay, just tell us the funniest one.
The funniest. Oh, I don't know if
Or
this is the
outrageous.
funniest. Outrageous. Oh, just like yeah, giving money to random people all the time that I didn't know.
gonna see that. Asila.
Yeah, Asila all the time. Yeah, it was like I don't even know who this person is, but I'm giving my life savings to them. But I think that is also important because then in turn, like people show up for you. Like people showed out for our wedding, even though mine was literally drive by in the church parking lot. Okay. Like they still showed up because we show up for them. And that was something huge that I learned at the beginning. Kind of funny story, but just like explains. I just remember like we had this big cabin trip planned, me and Fifi, and like we were gonna go with our friends. We were so excited. We get a call from my mother-in-law, and she's like, "You gotta come to this funeral. Like, what do you mean?"
Oh
And
my
I was
God.
like, "We're already driving." I was like, "Fifi, no, like we have plans. Sorry." And like she just like went about it. She's like, "No, you're gonna come to this funeral and show your respects because that's what we do." And like in the moment, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" But then after, like, we had this big discussion about the same thing, like showing up for your people, and they'll in turn do that for you. And I love that about this culture, and the family is just like, yeah, just kind of the love that's shared in that.
I love that.
Wow, you're like so nice. So I'd have been like, we're still driving up the canyon. No, I'm just kidding. No,
I would do that now. Maybe not the start of my marriage.
I do the same with M, like on the Sila, which if people, okay, wait, correct me if I'm wrong. Actually, how about you explain what the Sila
explain
is?
the
Not
Sila.
me.
Oh, you're okay. So a Sila is like a family, like in the Tongan culture, and I would probably venture to say it's also fairly similar. The wording might be different in other cultures, but when somebody in the family dies, our family gathers together. So this would be like all my aunts and uncles, first cousins. We would all gather together like funds, and this creates a Sila. And we would give this to the family that has lost their loved one, whether it's their father, their dad, sister, I mean, whatever, all the things are. And so sometimes in Emily's case, you may not even know them because, like in my case, I also don't know them.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it
like-
could possibly be like a third cousins of my dad. So it's my dad's third cousins, like spouse or something like that. So like, yeah, it's down the line. And so with that being said, yes, that is what a Sila is. And yeah, it is kind of a little weird to give money that you don't know to
Yeah.
people. You know, I mean, give money to people you don't know.
And I will say the best thing about, and I don't know if this is the same for you, Em, but with like Fifi's fam, there wasn't a set amount that we had to give.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning, it was like give what you can, which I think is cool because I have heard stories of like some of my other white friends who have married into Polynesian culture, like they give to something every month, like, and it's like a set amount. You give this to the parents or to that, and I like, and yeah, which is really hard for them. So I was like, oh, I'm lucky, I'm blessed that like your parents, like they never made me feel like you have to give $500 every time, you
Yeah.
know? It was like give what you can if you can. And if you truly couldn't, then you couldn't. But in the beginning, yeah, I remember there was one person we were giving money to, and I was like, who is this? And Malu's like, you know, like I don't know, so-and-so's. And so I was like, okay, so like how much do you want to give? And I remember he said something like, let's give $500. I'm like, we don't even know this person. But, you know, in my eyes, because it's so different to me, I'm like, what the heck? I'm just like, here's $500. And so it brought awareness to me,
Did you say no?
No, I didn't. But we just no wait, no, I didn't say no. I didn't say no. I did. We discussed an amount. Sorry. I didn't say no, but I said,
Okay.
let's do like look at our account. What do you think is
What
actually
can we do?
feasible?
Yeah.
Like let's compromise on this. So I think that was super different. And then also my other story, and seriously, I love my father-in-law so much. And this is Fifi's dad. But what was funny is because Malu was the last one to get married, I feel like there was a lot of expectation for him to show up to every event because he was like the last single guy who didn't really have like any other obligations is what I should say. So when we first got married, there was a time and my family was having Sunday dinner and like my dad always asks who's coming in advance so he can plan, and you just plan for who's coming, which is also super different culture wise. Like we plan for who says they're coming, not just like 100 people who might show up. And so I told Malu, I was like, okay, we said we go to Sunday dinner. Well, we're sitting in your guys' living room. And dad comes out and he's like, no, you're singing at your third cousin's reunion. And I was like, what the heck? You didn't tell me you had a family reunion. He goes, I didn't know I had a family reunion. And so I'm like sitting there because I'm like, what are we going to do? Like, I feel bad because I told my dad I was coming. And it's not probably to Malu, it was like, dude, we're missing a Sunday dinner for a family reunion. But I'm like, my dad is planning on us being there type thing. And so we did end up going to the family reunion because I remember dad was like, no, all the other siblings are like out of town. Like really everyone was out of town. I think we were like the only ones to go. And this is what's funny about it. And so dad walked around the corner and he could tell I was mad. I'm sure I was like fuming on the couch. So dad walks around the corner and I know he's listening to us. So if you listen to this podcast, dad, I knew you were listening. But I was told Malu and I go, your family is not more important than my family. And he was like, what? And I go, your family reunion is not more important than what my family has going on. And he was like, okay. And I was like, so we'll go to your family scene this time. But I said, if we commit to something with my family before your family has a surprise something, we're going to my family's things. Oh, because dad said, maybe you guys could split up. And I'm very big on not splitting our time. Like that's something that Malu and I have talked about. I'm like, no, we can make either both work or we go to what we committed to first. And so it was funny because I know dad as in Malu's dad, we call him his dad. I call him dad too. I knew he was listening, and guess what? After that, he never pressured me to go to anything again.
I'm dying. I didn't know
but
this.
I mean, you know me. I speak my mind, which isn't like I don't know if I guess like have you always felt comfortable to speak your mind? Because I mean, maybe even if I'm not comfortable, I just still say it.
I think it took time to like grow into it for me. Like now I would and having kids, but at the start, I was like, I'm so sorry your son married a white girl. Like I'll do my best to like make you like me, I swear. Like I'm okay, I promise.
Oh my gosh, I'm freaking crying.
But
this
it was
is funny.
It was funny, and I'm like, there have been things like that. Like I even remember at it was Thanksgiving, and my family always sees a movie on Thanksgiving, and you guys were singing again. Like they get asked to sing at every family event because they're all freaking talented. Yes. I'm not, but they are. And so it just kept like the number kept getting pushed back, and you guys were like,
"Oh, our time,
yeah, your time." And I was like, "We're gonna be late for my family's movie." And Fifi's husband and Tina's husband, they're like hyping me up. They're like, "Come on, you got to tell him he has to leave right now because guess what? If you don't, you're gonna be stuck like this for the rest of your life." Like they're hyping me up. Like, set the foot down right now. Put your foot down.
On the same side.
Or you're always gonna be 2 hours late to everything. And so I did. I was like, "We gotta go. You tell them that you gotta sing right now." And then Jake and Jansen are like, oh my gosh, you actually did it. They're like hyping me up. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. And maybe that's like my naiveness. Like, I don't know. I just like, I'm like, oh, whatever. If we had something to commit to, we're going, we're gone.
It's fine.
And then you guys sang. But guess what? Then the number got right after and we got to go. We were on time to the movie, you know?
You know what? That's great. I think advocacy in cultural differences is really important, especially like now, like you bring kids into this scenario, right? Like there's differences in parenting from both backgrounds, for one, like your husband's background and then what you guys bring in, but there's also differences in parenting as a culture. And so I would probably like, this is one of my things I want to ask you guys is like, how do you approach like raising children with these like exposure to both cultures And like, what do you pick and choose to do, you know, especially if like you feel like from your side, like you guys are saying like it's your environment that you guys grew up in.
Yeah.
As far as culture, like on your husband's side, what would you guys say is like, how do you approach raising your kids in that and feeling close to their roots while also maybe not necessarily living every single part of the culture?
I would say for me, like and I know Em said this like in the beginning, I have never had like trouble loving the Polynesian culture. Like it's always been super cool to me. And so I've always wanted that to be like my kids' identity, probably even more than my own
Yes.
culture, like my own stuff, because I'm like, no, that's so cool. We don't have that. Please, please. Like I'm like, Via, please turn 5 so you can start dance lessons, like the Talunga lessons. So you can perform at weddings and you can do that because like she loves that stuff. And I begged Malu, I'm like, please only speak Tongan to our kids. Because he's like Tina, but like the only one fluent in your guys' family in Tongan. And I'm like, come on, have our kids be like bilingual. And he's like, no, like, and so I'm like, if our next kid is a son, you better only speak Tongan to him. So like, because I'm like, I love the culture. And so for me, I'm like, I want my kids to uphold the traditions that I do on my side. Like I know I've told your family we have a super cool Easter egg hunt that my mom does every year. And every egg has a number in it and it's linked to a price. So there's like gift cards and all of these different things. And now your guys' family's like, let's do that, everyone. Like next year, let's do that. And I love that because you guys are also open to having like those traditions in. But then for me, like I'm telling my family, like, oh, this is what Malu's family does. And I'm also super laid back person, like chill, go with the flow. So I feel like that's also part of it. I've just always wanted that culture to be in my kids and for them to learn. And I love that they're so close with their cousins because that's not something that I had. And so, yeah.
That's good. Yeah. No, I feel the same way. I think just showing up for things, like that's a big thing. And we've been like in the trenches of school. And so I haven't been able to do that as much as I would have liked to. But especially now as they're getting older and they're like making closer friends with their cousins, my kids, it's just important to go to things so you can see the people, know the stories. Huge in their family. And I'm sure culturally is like talking about your ancestors and like they're the reason that we are where we are today because they came here. You know, that's huge. We talk about all the time. And so I want to bring that to my family as well. Like, these are your cousins on this side. This is what we do. Like, I think both sides just showing up where you go. And we try to spend a lot of time with my family because they do live far away. And so we like make a little bit more of an effort to like go out there and do those things that my parents care about too, you know, just so that we can kind of divide and conquer the two different kind of cultures.
I definitely agree. I think like how Jake and I approached it at the very start of our marriage, which was interesting, was like I just found out I was pregnant with our first kid. And like we would talk a lot, like in like futuristically of like what we wanted to do when this kid came. And like one of my first things was I was like, how would you want to discipline our kids? And listen, I know we're in America, okay? And like, what do you call it? Capitalist punishment?
Corporal punishment?
Yeah. Corporal.
I'm like, don't ask me. I don't know
Corporal
what you're talking
punishment.
about.
That's like when you're hitting your kids.
Yes.
Like,
Oh, yes.
I know that's abuse, okay?
Yes.
Culturally, that still happens a lot of different places. It's not just like where my family comes from, but it happens a lot of different places where kids are hit, and that's what they utilize to discipline. And so, like, that was one of the things that my husband and I navigated was like, how do we want to discipline our kids? I didn't like, I 100%, I was like, I don't want to spank our kids. I don't want to like even do anything remotely like close. And it was so interesting because he was like, I think spanks are fine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm dying over here because I'm like,
Wasn't
who's the
expecting
white
this.
one here?
I'm like, you do?
Okay, not saying that this is like, you know, because like okay, I'm so sorry. This might be controversial. This is just opinion, a little.
Yeah. it's
Okay,
fine.
so like, let's just say like Americans, like white people, okay? Hitting a kid is abuse. It's called abuse here, and it is everywhere. I know that, like I know that.
Yes.
Mhm.
But if you hit a kid in Tonga or Fiji or Tahiti. Like, it's discipline.
Yeah.
So, like, that's why I was like, to him, I was interesting that that's kind of like what he said he was fine with to like kind of do. And I remember like I was just like, I don't even want to spank butts. I don't want to do that because like for me, it just like it was just too much for me. And like I'm glad I went that route. And thankfully, like he was open to listen to me, especially like with the line of work we're in with foster care and things like that. Like I had a lot of things that influenced my decisions on how I wanted to deal with my kids, and not all of them were cultural.
Yeah.
A lot of it was like professional, and a lot of it was also influenced by like my upbringing, like my, my family. Like that's just not something it was like frowned upon to do, I would say. But it's still very prominent in the Tongan culture and also like Polynesian culture. And I don't want to speak for other ethnicities, but I also know like it's not just with us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's like one of the things like I approached. That was one of my very first things that we like discussed how to approach raising our kids. But then like on the flip side, like the more positive, like I don't know, like I said, Jake, because I like said, I'm like, well, you don't really have a culture, like, but you have family traditions. I guess we can just kind of take that like as your cultural background. And so like I wasn't as respectful as I was at the very start. But now growing into our marriage and growing up together and raising our kids, like it's really important to me that our kids know not just my ancestors, but Jake's,
Mhm.
because that's their ancestors. They might not be on my family tree, but they're on theirs. And so it's important for me to have my kids know. And so like I am one of the first people in Jake's family to name our kids after people in their family, and they found that so weird.
Really?
They found that so weird.
Oh.
Like the thing they did say was like a thing that like you guys do was like you like the dad, if you're having your son, the dad's name is like
middle
the
name.
son's middle name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That
know
was,
some
like, the
people do
only
that.
thing. Yeah, that was the only thing. But then they did find it different or find it odd that I chose people to name my kids after. Like all of my kids are named after somebody. And they did find that a little weird, but I did tell Jake and he was on board with it. That's why I thought that was like, I was grateful that he was approaching raising our kids in this way. For me, was that naming our kids in our culture is very like, it's like an honor. But when you're naming your kid after this person, it's not just to honor them, but like, you respect them so much. You look up to them so much that you're really hoping your child becomes just like this person. Like, and so like I'm named after my grandma. And like one was to pay homage to my grandma. And then the other side, like I hear all the time, like she's like, I want you to be just like me. Or like
Mhm.
my dad will be like, you are just like your grandma in these different ways. And like to me, I feel a sense of identity because it's a connection to my grandma, to my roots.
Yes.
And so like I love that I did that. I love that I have that with my name and it's a cultural thing, but I love that I gave this to my kids too, because, I did like the normal names, like, James, Eleanor, those types of names. But it was also really important to me that they had Tongan names, cultural names. And so they do have names like that as well. And like my husband was just really respectful in those ways where he paid homage to where I come from.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we can both speak to that as well. Our kids have Polynesian names. And yeah, that's kind of like a story that I was telling you guys earlier that I wish not that I would change my child's name, but I kind of wish I understood and like knew the value a little bit more of like naming people after ancestors, because with my daughter, like our birth story was kind of special because we had a name picked out, and then my husband's grandma on his other side, on his Lotalele side, she was passing away. And so every day, like while I was about to give birth, we were waiting, we would go see grandma and kind of just hang out, sing songs, all the things. And then on my way to the hospital, we didn't know if she was going to make it or not. And then I gave birth, kind of out of it from the epidural. And I woke up and Fifi like just crying and was like, grandma passed. And so it was just like really special because it was like almost like grandma like waited for the same time, to kind of like pass down. And so we weren't planning on it, but we added her name into our daughter's name. And it's like a really long middle name and she has a ginormous name now. But it was really important for us to like take that. And like now I feel so like because of her name, she's so connected to the Lotalele family because that's their mom, that's their grandma. Like that is really important to me and special for me that she like honors that and lives up to it. And like I hope that her spirit, can kind of like guide her in that way.
So I love that. That's so cool.
That's kind of how, for Via, her full name is Salavia. And we were going to name her Ada. Like that was our name, was Ada James, actually, for like my whole pregnancy. And then it was actually me that brought up the name Salavia to Malu. And every time we would go to like a family event, like someone would mention Salavia to me, and which is the great grandma. And I was just like, that's such a cool name. And I was like, and I love the name Via. And so, that I was like, okay, my side of the family could call her Via because they might not even pronounce Salavia correctly. And when I brought it up to Malu, he actually said no. He's like, no. And I was like, really? And I was like, I really think we should name her Salavia. And then I was like, let's like learn more about her and like what she is. And so when we would go to things, like people would we didn't even say that name was on our radar, but like people would just start bringing up stories about Salavia. And I think it was at Thanksgiving. I think we were at Rodizio, and Noah shared a story or something about Grandma Salavia. And Via, my baby, was moving like crazy in my stomach. And so I grabbed Malu's hand and I'm like, her name is Salavia. Like her name is Salavia. And so he felt her move. And anytime someone would mention the name, she would move. And so it was like the coolest thing ever because we had a completely different name. And then when she came out, we were like, she is a Salavia, like in Via through and through. And it fits her so much. She's a strong personality. She loves to dance. She loves to sing. And when I hear that, that's like, Grandma Salavia loved to do those things. She taught dance lessons and she loved to sing. And so it's been fun to like learn about that. And then also like asking your mom, like, what about a middle name, because Salavia was on the dad's side. And so, and mom was like, I love the Tongan flower, Hey Lala, and which also I think was a last name of mom's. Yeah. And so like her full name is Salavia Hey Lala, and then Jane after my grandma, because she was born on my grandma's birthday. And so it's super cool. I love the names. And I'm like, I want a Polynesian name for every name. And then we had our second baby and her name's Willa. And that's actually from my side. And I saw it on my family tree. And I was just like, oh, well, you were there at the hospital. And I was like, and I just told Malu, I was so tired. I was like, name her whatever you want. And she was like, Fifi, what should we name her? Like, what does she look like? Because we had a couple of names. And Fifi was like, I'm not saying anything because if you choose the other name, like, I don't want to, I don't want to sway. And so then Malu was like, I think she looks like a Willa. And Fifi was like, that's what I was going to say. And Willa totally fits her name. And so it's just cool. I feel like when you name a child, like whether it's a name you like, whether it's after someone, it just like fits them. And it like really does become who they are. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. Like I want to kind of like when we talk about our kids, like how, and maybe you guys aren't here yet. That might be something else too. But how do your kids respond to or identify with their mixed heritage or their culture? Like, are they there yet? Do they
I don't
recognize?
feel like they do recognize like Via. Well, my sister married a Hispanic guy, and so Via has one time told me like, look, we're the same, like the skin tone, because they actually do look like siblings. So she's starting to recognize that, but I don't think she really recognizes like. I do tell her like, you're Polynesian, you're Tongan, like, and those things. And she's like, yeah, I'm Tongan. Like she'll say that, but I don't feel like she's super recognized yet. Willa doesn't.
No. Yeah, that second child. Yeah, I think it's just like, oh, mommy's white and I'm brown. Like,
Yeah.
That's how they
Or like,
always
why don't you
recognize,
have like, why don't you have like me? Like,
Yeah,
and
why
she'll, like,
aren't you
point to my
brown?
skin and
Yes.
her skin. And I'm
Yes,
like, dang, I wish I
exactly.
was like you.
I'm like, trust me.
I feel like that's definitely the first indicator, especially like with mixed kids, is they recognize the difference between them and their parent. Because like
Yes.
that would probably be like the very first thing. Like my son, he was like, why are you like, he's like, why are you so dark? And like mine, I'm like, not. And he's like, but I don't look like daddy either. Like he's like, I'm not red like dad. You know?
It's crazy. None of your kids got red
Jake's
hair.
not white, he's red. So like I just like that's kind of one of the very first times I started talking about like our mixed heritage that he has. Like I am Polynesian, I'm brown, and his skin is a mixture of both mine and dad's and things like that. And like that was probably one of our first indications. And then now, like, and it's funny because it's not just him now. Like, he's turning 7, but I have my 5-year-old daughter at like a parade. And, you know, this might be very niche here in Utah, but like, you know, we have a parade and there's always like Polynesian dancers in the
Yeah,
parade.
yeah.
Whenever they come down the line in the parade, my kids always scream so loud and say, "That's my people."
I love
They're like,
that.
"That's my people. That's my
I
people."
love
And
that.
like, it's so funny because like they're not even doing a Tongan dance. Like that's literally Tahitian.
Yeah.
But like I always tell my kids, I'm like, you are Tongan, you are Fijian. That makes you Polynesian. That also makes you part of like the Pacific. So you can call yourself Pacific or Pacifica Islanders. But then I also talk about Oceania. So that I'm like, you're part of a big, big group. And I was like, that is your people. I was like, whether they're part of our island or not, I'm like, that's your people. And so like they love it. But there was a time where my son was not necessarily happy to have that much melanin in his skin. And I'm not even joking. He was like, you're brown. Well, at first he actually didn't know his colors that much. So he's like, you're black and dad is red and I am white. And I was like, okay, like you're not, but like,
Sure.
you're half. And your dad is not red. Let's get that straight. But like as we've gotten older, because I don't know what it was, but he at first I don't think he felt comfortable saying that he was brown. I don't know. Like it was just a little different. Like I didn't like anticipate having these conversations with him. But that was like probably one of the bigger things. But as he's gotten older, he's gotten more like interested in wanting to learn about where I come from and like more things about like, oh, what about this island? What about this? Like I want to learn about the Maori people. And I was like, oh, of course, like I'm gonna teach you, or I'll sing him songs in different languages from other islands. And so like he loves that, but the excitement of it didn't come when he was younger. It's so funny to me.
That is funny.
I think that's like the thing that I try to do. My husband the same way. He also knows Tongan and he does not teach our kids. I'm like, come on, like we need to keep that going. But we do try to like, even me, I know very little Tongan, but I'll sing Tongan. I'll follow. You know, like I'm always singing that.
The
to
one
my
we all
kids.
know.
But like that's important to me that they know that. And it's important. Like I try to like consistently like say, hey, like you are Tongan, you are Fijian, like this is a part of you, just like you said, Fifi. Like just making them aware of their identity so that they can hold on to it. It's important.
Yeah. Well, here is one of the questions I want to end on because I think that all of us would probably have really great insights and perspectives on this. But this one is just what steps are you currently taking to help your kids feel proud and secure in their mixed heritage?
Great question. Well, I think for for us, like, Malu's a lot better about, like, talking about culture and, like, heritage and all of that, because there's still, like, a lot that I don't know, like, about, like, the family and all the things, and so I think for us, like, for Salavia, like, we definitely tell her, like, her name and who she's named after, and she finally knows her full name. Like,
Yeah, it takes a
'cause
long
it takes a
time.
long time, and so it was so cool because we just made a poster for she got spotlighted at preschool, and I was like, "'Kay, what pictures do you want on, your poster?" And she was like, "Grandma and grandpa on the island," 'cause, they're serving a mission, and I was like, "Wow, okay," like, that's what she wanted, and she was so excited to tell people about them and that, like, they're on the island and they're teaching, and, like, that's what she wanted to say, and so we, like, sat there and we practiced her name, her full name, and in the car, she was, like, mixing up middle names and stuff, and she was like, "Oh," and I was trying to help her. She goes, "No, don't help me. Like, let me do it, mom." And so then when we got to school, she said her full name and she was like, "I did it." Like, she was so proud of knowing her name. And so I think just like those little things for Willa, it's so funny. I have like one brown kid and one white kid. Like, Willa is like, she's so fair tone and Via is so brown tone that I'm like, it is crazy. And Willa has like the white name too. So I told Molly, like, it's funny because she is like fair skin with the white name, and Via's more like Polynesian, like toned and skin tone. And so I think that's something also like that I have to like, I don't know, get out of my head. Because I did see a girl on social media saying that she's half Polynesian, and some people would say like, "You're not Polynesian," because like it would tell her she's not full Polynesian, and I don't know. I'm sure other people have
I hate
experienced
that.
that, and I haven't obviously because I'm white. And so I was like, oh, like I don't want people to tell Willa like you're not Polynesian because you look like your mom. And so I think just letting them know the heritage. Malu always like he'll sing songs in Tongan or he'll say Tongan words, or even just going to like family events too, I feel like are super awesome because they learn about their cousins, and Via knows more of her cousins' names now, and she even has like Tongan stuff now. When Tina went to Tonga, she brought her back a little Tongan purse, and like that's like her favorite thing now. Like, and this is from the island, and that's what she says. Like, she associates everything with the island, and I'm sure as Willa gets older, like Molly will help that too, because it's harder for me to navigate, I think, because I'm like, am I saying things right? Am I doing things right? Because it's not, I mean, it is my culture. I married into the culture, but also I don't want to like do things wrong in a way because I don't want to be like disrespectful. Or like, wow, your mom taught you that? Of course she did. That is not right. So I'm always like looking to Molly like, this is your job, and I will learn with you while you teach the kids. So that's kind of how their dad teaches them, and I learn through him as well.
Yes. I think that's the biggest part, just educating yourself on all of it too, and educating your kids. Yeah, my kids somehow came out pretty dark. And so I was not anticipating that, but I think it's just like 10 toes down, girl, you're a beautiful brown woman, and I want you to like know that about yourself and respect that and like know where you come from. And I don't want her to ever like, I don't know. We can't even speak to this because we'll never experience it, but like I can't like imagine anybody treating her different because of that. And I know that my husband has experienced that even in Utah. And like I think it's for both ways. Even like, oh, maybe because you're a little fair or you don't speak Tongan or whatever, your mom's white, the same way. Like I hope that the community also treats them fairly, like they're both and they can be in both avenues of life. So.
Oh, I really love that. I think that's so cool. I mean, like, I will share mine. Like, I think that, like, one of the things I do a lot with my kids to help them feel proud and secure in their mixed heritage is like my daughters see me dance. Like, I'll dance and like it makes them want to do it too, which is so funny because I have my daughter in like is it ballet or
Yeah,
hip hop?
jazz.
I don't even know what it is.
Jazz.
Yeah, it's jazz.
Yeah.
So it's like she's in jazz, but like she wants to quit because she wants to go and take dance lessons like from like our culture.
Yeah.
Like she wants to learn all of the island dancing. And I like, of course, like I want her to. And like I want that for my sons too. But like with them, I just always tell them about like where they're from. We'll talk about like I don't know, like, they'll ask me questions, and then I'll show them videos of what they're asking about, like, it's just things like that, but I think that, like, what helps is that, like, their dad, who's not from the same cultural background is just as proud to live it.
Yeah.
Like he'll wear the cultural attire for us, like, and it's again in cultural appreciation. Like he appreciates where I come from because he loves me so deeply, but his kids are also, mixed. And so like that's some of the ways that we help our kids feel proud and feel secure in who they are. Cause yeah, like probably like Fifi, I got mistaken a lot for like my skin color, and like there's nothing wrong with having darker skin, but people do experience like some type of things here and there. And so that's just like one of the things is like my kids will never know that because I will teach them when the time comes if it needs to, but I also want to help them be proud of who they are and feel secure before I get to those points of like, this is where people might make you feel like you shouldn't feel proud of your skin or where you come from. So like, I think it's super fun. It's a fun thing to talk about because I am proud of where I come from. Yeah. And so I want my kids to feel the same.
Yeah. And I think we're trying to do that. And like, we want to feel the same way. Like you said, your husband supports you. Like we want to support our husband. We've tried to learn the dances. We're not graceful. Rylan might be. I'm not. But like, that's something like to show up for your kids also on both sides.
Yeah.
Like to show up in our husband's culture because it's part of them. Like I want them to see that we try regardless if we're comfortable with it or not.
Yeah. No, I love it. I think it's good. We'll get you guys up dancing with us.
Yeah. I always try to. If I know it, I for sure will be up there because I don't want my kids to be like, why isn't mom up there?
Or sit in the back.
Yeah. So I know
it makes me so proud when Jake is dancing right
I know.
alongside
Right?
my brothers.
It's so cute.
No, I think, mixed heritage is great. They're a beautiful thing. And there's a lot of people that probably are dealing with the same things and navigating how to help their kids feel proud and secure in who they are from both sides. So thank you guys for coming on. It was such a fun thing to talk about. And we'll see you next time with Freshly Picked.